And now let me talk about the relationship between the forward and the future prices. Now there are fundamentally many determinants that determine the forward and the future prices. Now one of the fundamental determinants is the interest rate. And interest rate, when I talk about the interest rate, I talk over here the correlation of interest rate with asset prices. Now, let me talk about how it actually works. Now, say for example, I will be talking firstly from the perspective of the long. Now, I have forwards and I have futures. And let me talk about that now the correlation between forward prices, between the interest rates and asset prices is positive. Now, which if the correlation between asset prices and the interest rates is positive, so what should a long party prefer? Should he go for the forwards or should he go for the futures? Now, let me now talk about if there is a rise in the price. Now, if there is a rise in the price, the party that is entered, the long party that is entered into the future contract will withdraw the margin. So now, as he is withdrawing the margin because of the rise in the prices over here, the interest rates have also risen because of the positive correlation between the asset prices and the interest rates, which means that this withdrawal margin can be invested at the in the rising interest rates, which will give him more returns. Now, in this scenario, now this scenario results in a in a situation where a party will definitely prefer a future contract over the forward contract, because of the future contract are daily settled, they are mark to market, and he will be able to withdraw the margin and then invest that margin into the interest rates. Now, let us look from the other perspective. If the price has fallen and if there's a positive correlation, which means that interest rates will also fall. Now, in this case, he has to deposit the margin because he is long and he has to deposit the margin. Now, if he deposits the margin over here, which means that because of the fall in the price, and in this case the interest rates have fallen, so he will be able to borrow at lower interest rates. So over here also the future contracts will be favored as compared to the forward contracts because of the positive correlation between the interest rates and the interest rates and the asset prices. Now, from this perspective, if I the relationship summarize this relationship between forward and future prices, I can say that there are two parties, one is long, another one is short. Now, if the correlation is positive or if the correlation is negative. Now, if the correlation is positive, the long party is going to favor the future contracts, and if the correlation is negative, then obviously will favor the forward contracts. Now, from the perspective of the short, if the correlation is positive, is going to favor just opposite of the long, that is going to favor forward contracts, and if the correlation is negative, is going to favor future contracts. Now, this is the scenario. What is actually the relationship between when the relationship between the asset price and the interest rates is positive or negative. In this way, the parties let the whether to go for a forward contract or to go for a future contract. The obvious phenomenon is that over here, when if the interest rates are rising, say for if the price rise and the interest rates are also rising, so a party will definitely be taking will be withdrawing the margin and investing that into higher interest rates. Now over here, short, if the party is favoring future contract because of the negative interest rates, which means if the prices are falling, the interest rates are rising. So now if the price is falling, which means that the party is gaining and he will be able to withdraw margin because he is short, and he will be able to withdraw the margin and then invest that at a higher interest rates. So that is why the party will be preferring the future, short party will be preferring the futures contract only if then the interest rates is negative. Interest rate between the when the correlation between the interest rate and the asset prices are negative, because the price, because he is gaining with the fall in the price. As the prices fall, he will be able to withdraw the margin, and such a margin will be deposited into the higher interest rates.